Welcome all. I am again with the series of West Wind of PB Shelley. In previous classes, we have studied introduction about poem about the poet Stranger first. In the previous class, I have given a detailed uh, introduction as well as the detailed explanation of the poem of Stanza second and third. To flashback these the last classes, I would like to give a small or to say a very short flashback on the previous stanzas. In the first stanza, the poet described the power of the west wind and activity on the earth. Likewise, he also called the west wind as a destroyer and preserver. In the second stanza, the power of the west wind shone over the sky, where the poet invokes the west wind whose powers are attributed and enumerated. The poet addresses west wind as a destroyer and preserver, sweeping away the leaves of which it is preserving. In the next, the poet or to in the next stanza, or to say the second stanza, the poet describes the power of the west wind over the land, and it drives the dead leaves before it conveys the seeds into the dark beds of the earth. Likewise, and in the third stanza, the poet described the effect of west wind on water. The west wind awakens the sleep of the blue Mediterranean Sea. There is also a description of the Atlantic Sea, the dreaming of the Mediterranean Sea, and its imagination have been vividly, the use of vivid imagery have been given a wonderful presentation by Shelley. Here, Shelley pointed out that the vegetation of the bottom of the sea and the rivers of the lakes sympathize with that of the land, the charges of the season, and consequently influenced by the wind and announce of the that change. In the fourth stanza, which I am going to teach you, fourth and fifth stanza, the poet here establishes a link between his own personality and the personality of the west wind. He recalls his boyhood, when he was swift, energetic, and uncontrollable, as the west wind is. In his boyhood, he could excel the speed of the west wind and could accompany it on its wandering over the sky. But now, the misfortune of the life has crushed him. He is bleeding on the thorn of life helplessly. He wishes that he were a leaf, a wave, a cloud, so that the west wind could lift him. He make a pathetic appeal on the west wind to come to his help. In the lines, the poet says that, "Oh, lift me." In the fourth stanza, you can see the line number, this is the line number 53, where he calls, "Oh, lift me as a wave, leave a cloud. I fall upon the thorn of life, I bleed. A heavy weight of hours has chained and bowed one to like thee, tameless and swift and proud. Now the pain of the life, the misfortune of the life has crushed him." So it is a wonderful presentation given in the fourth stanza. So I would like to give a detailed study. We will study line to line the fourth stanza. After that, we will pick up the difficult words. I will try to give the meaning of that difficult words, and then we will study the text line to line. So, come on, on the text. So, what he says, if I were a dead leaf, thou mightest bear, if I were a swiftest cloud to fly with thee, a wave to bend beneath the power and share the impulse of thy strength, only less free thou, O uncontrollable, even I were in my childhood and could be the comrade of thy wandering over heaven, as then when to outstrip the sky speed scarce seemed a vision, I would never have striven as thus with thee in prayer in my sore need. Oh, lift me as a wave, a leaf, a cloud. I fall upon the thorn of life, I bleed. A heavy weight of hours has chained and bowed. One took thee, tameless and swift and uh, proud. So the difficult words here is the mightest the powerful, mightest the heavyweight. So next the difficult word, I think there is the swiftest cloud and the uh, very fast moving, fly in the air, pant, move fastly, impulse. Impulse here is the meaning of effect, comrade, colleague, wandering, moving here and there, everywhere, outstrip, come ahead, skite, uh, to move into the sky speed, very fast speed, scare, now scare seemed a vision, now my real power is losing right now, striven, to say to pray, uh, and sure, urgent. So these are the difficult words. Now I am going to uh, explain these lines. If I were a dead leaf, here the poet just imagine, just wanted to become. Here the poet expressing his the effect of west wind upon the sky and sea. Then after the impact of west wind over the land or the sky or the sea, now here he is very to say very pessimist towards the life, and he is very hopeful about the future, and he says that if I were a dead leaf, he wanted to just mingled or with the west wind. So he just says that if I were a dead leaf, thou mightest bear me. If I were a dead leaf, you can float me along with you. If I were a swift cloud to fly thee, a wave to pant beneath thy power and share. So he says that if I were a dead leaf, then thou mightest bear, tameless and swiftly and proud. So he is very to say very distressful with the society. In this stanza, the poet establishes a connection between himself and the west wind. He wishes to that if he were a leaf, a cloud, a wave of the ocean, that the west wind could carry him on its wings. So he wanted to share the company of west wind. He feels a need desire the taste of the fierce strength of the west wind. Here he wanted to join the power of the west wind. The impulse of the strength, only less free. Impulse, the power of the west wind, the effect of the west winds are less free. So he is very keen desire to taste the fiery strength of the west wind. The west wind is uncontrollable. So he says that then, huh, only less free, then thou o uncontrollable. You are uncontrollable. No control is over to you. You are free. And what he says, even if I were as in my boyhood and could be, or if I were in my childhood. Here he is recalling his childhood, he feels that what he says that the west wind enjoy the ultimate dreamed. I say the poet too has the sense of freedom, though he is not free from, or to say he is not free as the west wind. The poet recalls his boyhood, the childhood, when he could surpasses the west wind in the speed, and when he could easily accompany it in its upward flight. So he says that when I was in my childhood, I could um, run with the speed of the west wind. The comrade, I wanna just to be become your companion of thy wandering over the heaven, as you are wandering all over the sky or the heaven. I just wanna to be accompanied of you. The west wind, the speed of could accompany it in its upward flight. And he says that what he says, as then when outstripped skied speed, and right now, तब जब मैं बच्चा था, when I was in childhood, my energy was on top level. If he had still that energy, the vitality which possessed in as in boyhood, he could have felt, he wouldn't have, not could, he wouldn't have felt the need of seeking the help of the west wind in the present distress. But he said that the scare seems of the vision I would never have been striven. So the poet says that in my childhood, in my boyhood, I could have ahead of west wind. As the speed of the west wind is quite speedy, but in my childhood, I think I was even faster than the west wind. So I just wanted to join the company of west wind. Right now I am very distressed, I have no power, I am very, to say, distressed with the life. And what he says that, but as he has lost his youthful vigor, fire, he is in need of help. So he says that now, right now, I am seeking the help of the west wind. The scare seemed the vision. I think I have lost my powers as I had in childhood would never have an Stephen. So the poet says that he appeals to the west wind. Ki, please, what he says, please, and thus with thee he prayer sure need. He now, right, the poet asking or seeking the sure need. What he just sure need, that ki, oh, lift me as a wave, a leaf, a cloud, I fall upon the thorn of life, I beat. These are the very important line. Sometime the reference to text in the reference to context, these lines may be asked to the students. So come on to the lines. So here he is seeking what he just imagine. He appeals to the west wind greatly. What he says that, oh west wind, lift me as a leaf, as a cloud, as a wave, because he has greatly suffered in life. He fall upon the thorn of life. He says that please lift me as a wave, as a leaf, as a cloud. मुझे उठा लीजिए इस दुनिया से. I fall upon the thorn of life, I bleed. I am to say कि he had a married two married before in first marriage he had child, so court denied to give him children, so he was very depressed with the life. So he says that I fall upon the thorn of life. I have multiple challenges in my life, or multiple distractions in my life. So I just wanted to uh, um, say go along with the west wind. So he says that he is just have a great desire to be join the company of west wind. That's why he says that all west wind lift him as a leaf, as a cloud, as a wave, because he has uh, greatly suffered in life, and under the to say under the weight of the misfortunes, he is feeling absolutely crashed and incapacitated. Once he, though Kabi, he would have been a heavyweight of ours, chained and bound. He says that once a misfortune. heavy weight or hours and chained. The misfortune had chained him, seized him. One too like the once he too was wild, uncontrollable, as swift as west wind. One too like the tameless, fearless, uncontrollable, swift like you, west wind, and proud, and to say very elated one. But now he feels bent and oppressed by the sorrow of the miserable life. So he says that right now I am depressed, I have multiple uh, misfortunes in my life. So please, oh west wind, lift me as a wave, as a leaf, as a cloud. This stanza reveals the Shelley's the sensitive nature in the feeling of the helplessness in the face of the trial, the tribulations of the life. It contains the pathetic cry, or to say the wound heart. These are the deeply personal lines in which he gives the glimpses into the nature and temperament of the Sally. Now, come on to the to say the fifth stanza, the concluding stanza of this poem. In this stanza, the poet has given a wonderful portrayal of life. In fourth, he given the personal effect. Right now, in the fifth one, in the final stanza, that includes the whole universe in its and sweep. He says that what he says, the poet appeals the west wind to treat him as a liar and blow him on him as it blows on the forest, like the forest he too is passing through the autumn of his life, the west wind blowing him, and the forest will produce a sad but sweet music, addressing west wind as spirit fire and as a impetuous one. He appeals it to become, or to say, one with him and to scatter his ideas through over the universe, in order to these thoughts may bring out some sort of new changes, new period in the human history. He would like the west wind to be broadcast the whole world his prophecy about the coming of the golden era. If winter comes, can spring be far behind? In this stanza, we find a clear acceptance, or to say the clear expression of the poet Shelley's idealism and his belief in the mm, perfectibility of human nature, and he is, or to say his belief is about the golden age of mankind. So the poet here wanted to express his ideas. He just praying to the west wind that please come on and spread, please mix me along with you and spread my ideas through over the world, throughout the universe, so that the humanity, or to say the mankind, arise from, because it is right now in a dismal zone. So he is very optimistic, though he is very frustrated, he is very hopeless with the present scenario, but he is seeking the hope. He is seeking some sort of the new changes in the society, in the to say in the human life, so that he also seek, or he says that please westwind, mingle me with you, so that my ideas can hearth a blaze inside it, and some sort of new changes can come out. So students, I'm going to read the text again. I will read the text. If you have, we will try to give the difficult words meaning. So come on to the text. Make me thy lyre, even as a forest is. What if my leaves are fallen like its own? The tumult of the mighty harmonies will take from both a deep autumnal tone, sweet though in sadness be thou. Spirit fires, my spirit be thou me. Imputation, driven by dead thoughts over the universe like withered leaves to quicken a new birth, and by the incantations of these verses scattered as from the unextinguished hearth, ashes and spark my words among mankind. Be so my lips to awaken earth, the trumpet of prophecy. O wind, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? So these concluding lines are the very motivational, and the poet is very hopeful towards the future. That's why he says that. If winter comes, if difficult days are or here, then the um, to say uh, the positive, the rest, the harmony will come today. So make me thy liar. The poet here seeking permission to Westwind that make his lyre music. uh, I wanted to just become the part of the music of Westwind. Then leaves are fallen. The young age is now getting over. Though the poet died in the age of 30, but right now he is on of 26 years. But he says that his youthness is falling, or to say now he is growing older. Tumult, here he wanted to play thy mighty harmonies, mighty, the powerful songs, the sound of the west wind. Uh, Deep autumnal tone, the sad music that uh, arises when it's moves speedily. Then the impetuous, the uncontrollable one, uh, driven my dead thoughts, driven my ideas throughout the universe, dead thoughts which are decaying right now, because in the current scenario no one is paying attention uh, on my ideas. Quivering a new birth, I just wanted to stimulate the society. He says that he rejuvenate the world about to say he rejuvenate the world throughout his ideas. Scatter, he just wanted to spread all over uh, incantation magically, and scattered, spread out his ideas, unextinguished. My ideas are just extinguishing, but they are not extinguished. These are unextinguished, means still they are not died. Still they have some sort of light in it. I just wanna to spread my ideas. Unawakened, the dreaming mind, the uh, humanity, the mankind who are not aware of the revolutionary ideas, those who are not aware of the society. He just wanted to bring some sort of a change, trumpet of prophecy. He just wanted to proclaim, or to say declare, that if winter comes, if there are the uh, sad days, if there is the unhappiness, if there is the to say the difficult time, then the next, the strong one, the say the beautiful one, the positive one, the spring, the happiness will come. If sadness is here, the winter is here, the difficult time is over here, then it will be followed by the happiness, the spring, the summer. So the poet here seeking permission to the West Wind that West Wind treat him as a liar. He says that make me liar. The poet seeking permission to West Wind that treat him as a liar, as a music, just to treat in the forest. How? As the west wind moves throughout the jungles, in the to say in the forest, then as he moves throughout the jungle, there a hollow sound creates when it moves throughout. So it's a hollow sound, but it's a musical sound towards, or to say the poet is very enchanted with the sound of the west wind, so he just wanted to become the part of west wind. The poet regards the forest as the strange musical instrument in which the west wind blows and produce the harmonious sound. And he said that the tumult of thy mighty harmonies, tumult, again, it is to say it plays, it's a wonderful music come out, or the as the west wind blows, it produced a harmony sound, it's produced some sort of a music, will take from both deep autumnal tone which had a wonderful lyre. The style of the song will become to say it is some sort of a sad tone, but he says that he would like the west wind to treat him also like a stringed musical instrument and blow him. He is again say that what he says that through that he too be passing through the to say the autumnal uh, of his life, just as the forest. He says that what he says, sweet though sadness. The music is sweet, but there is a sadness, no doubt. Be thou spirit fires. I just wanna to be become, or to say कि my spirit become thine spirit and thine spirit becomes mine spirit. I just wanna to mingle with the west wind. So here he is seeking permission. My spirit, be thou me. My spirit, I just wanna to कि my spirit begins to your spirit and your spirit begins to my spirit, impetuous one, and if they becomes both one, then it will become uncontrollable. So he says that what he says that कि two, that he too be passing throughout the autumn of his life. He just as the forest is passing throughout the autumn, the poet leaves are falling, as if right now he is 26 years old, but here the poet says that his leaves of youthness are falling as the leaves of the forest are falling. He means that all his hopes and joys are gone, and that his life has become grey, dull, and barren. So he says that driven my dead ideas over the universe. He says that he driven his dead ideas over the universe. So again, uh, he is says that he is seeking to say he is requesting Westwind to strike of these two layers, the forest and the poet, it will become, or to say the produce some sort of melancholic sad sound, because both the fire and the poet being in autumn of their leaves will respond gloomy to the west wind, but the sound obviously come out sad. They will certainly be sweet. The poet says that for me the sad sound is absolutely sweet for me. The sad songs are always sweet, as Shelley tells us also in the poem Ode to a Skylark. Shelley appeals the west wind to become his spirit because there is much commotion between them. The poet would like to become one with west wind. He seeks the union with the forceful, to say the fierce spirit of the west wind. He asks west wind to drive. How drive his ideas? He says that drive my dead thoughts over the universe like withered leaves quickening new birth, and by incantations of this verse. Driven my dead ideas, my ideas which are getting dead right now, please scatter all over the universe, all over the world, likewise the withered leaves, as you spread, or to say the withered the dead leaves, hmm? And as the dead leaves withered, the quicken, the stimulated, the new birth of the new leaves come out. Likewise my ideas are to say the dead ones are getting the withered ones, but my dead ideas, my withered ideas will spread throughout the universe, then the new some sort of change will come out in the universe. So he says that what he says that He seeks union with the forceful spirit of the West Wind. He asks the West Wind to driven his scattered ideas throughout all over the universe, so that the many stimulated forces and the progress and bring about a new era of humanity in the history of humanity. He thought that he also thought do not have their original fire, but they are still capable of inspiring mankind, though the power in his ideas not as powerful as it were, but as if right now they are very low, they are not incapable, but they are not such powerful, they are not such original, but they are capable to bring inspirational changes in mankind, just as the essence of the spark fly in the direction. How? He says that the scattered from the unextinguished hearth spread as from the unextinguished, where there is no some sort of आग नहीं है अभी उस चूल्हे के अंदर, आग बहुत slowly है, very unextinguished है, still it is not end. hmm? Ashes and spark my words among mankind, be through my lips to awaken the earth, just as ashes and sparks fly gone out. Similarly, the poet wants his words to be scattered far and wide by the force of the west wind and the magic of the song. He wishes west wind to act as a mouthpiece for the unutterances and of the prophecy he regarding the arrival of the golden era on the earth. And he says what he says, that he just wanted to bring some sort of change towards the manhood who are sleeping, those who are drowsing. He says that trumpet of prophecy, right now he proclaiming the prophecy, he is just recalling that the golden era. And he says what he says, just is winter is surely followed by the natural course of the spring, similarly the era of misery will the misery and evil shortly followed by an era of prosperity, happiness, and love and beauty. So he says that, oh wind, if winter comes, can spring be fire behind? If there is a sadness, if there is a miseryness, if there is a some sort of darkness, it will be certainly followed by an era of perfect happiness, love, beauty, prosperity, and some sort of happiness. These lines expresses Shelley's bright optimism regarding the future of mankind and his belief in the golden age and in the perfectibility of human nature. So this is the poem, which is a wonderful um, interpretation of the poet. Look at in the line 65, where he says that 65 to 67, where he says that what he says, uh, he means that just as flew a spark from the hearth may cause some fire, the magic of words here brings some sort of revelation in the world. Shelley, obviously known as a revolutionary one, he was keenly dissatisfied with the existing system, the mode of life, the society, the rule of society. He just wanted the convention and all these institutions. He wanted some sort of a revelation, some sort of a change should sweep the old days of the life and bring some charged look. In the line number 68, he says that the earth which is still under, to say, ungenerated, unregenerated, the earth which is still buried beneath the conventions of old habits and the old institutions. The poet here wanted to change some sort of a positive change. The poet also make some sort of triumph of prophecy, where he says that the poet asked the west wind to act as an announcer, just as the trumpet is blown when the force to say the proclamation of the maid that similar wise the west wind will act as a trumpet because he has prophecy to make. So the poet is very hopeful, very positive towards the future. uh, if as the last line, which is very important, sometimes it asks in the exam to for the explanation. If winter comes, can spring be far behind? The poet is very clear. He is very optimistic. He says that winter in England is the period of great distress because of its intensifying cold, ice. Winter is therefore symbolizes the period of hardness, the difficulty. Likewise, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? So it will be likewise the difficult time. After a difficult time, the hardship, the spring, the joys, the rebirth, the happiness, the perfectness, the love, the beauty, or to say will followed. It is the birth of new nature. So winter must always be followed by the spring. So difficult time always followed by the good time. Similarly, the period of the misery, suffering, and evil will surely come to an end, and to say with a golden age will commence. During the golden age, or to say the millennium age, the beauty, love, the reign over the earth, there will be neither be evil, injustice, suffering. There will be nothing in the human life. Some sort of pain, suffering, anguish, there will be not in human life. This is the famous line, or this is the perfect quote which is often quoted. It shows Shelley is an idealist as a believer in the eventual triumph of the forces of God over the forces of evil. He says that कि evil can never reign. राज ईवल का कभी नहीं रह सकता है. सर्टेनली बुराई का एक रोज अंत होता है. पॉजिटिविटी जरूर फॉलोड बाय होती है. सो स्टूडेंट, दिस इज द कंप्लीट completion of the poem, or to Westwind. If you have any difficulties, you can message me, you can directly contact me. I think you enjoyed this poem. Next I will come along with John Keats. Till then, bye bye.